we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to In-House Con this week in conjunction with Capital Sci Fi Con and the children's hospices across Scotland. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm your host, Derek Mackey. I am the president of Cool Waters Productions. We are an appearance management company out here in Hollywood, California, and we specialize in bringing celebrated personalities face to face with their fans all across the world. And of course, during this pandemic, we've been unable to do that. So we started an event called In-House Con, which is where we do virtual events and bring the celebrities from their living rooms to your living rooms. And that is partly what we are doing today. We were graciously asked by the charity as well as Capital Sci-Fi Con to participate in their events this weekend and to provide some talent. So we are happy that we are able to bring our show this week in conjunction with them. Just want to give you guys a little heads up about the charity. Children's Hospices Across Scotland is Scotland's only hospice services for children with terminal illness, and they do an amazing job. Over the last 5 years, they have raised over £312,000 for the charity, and that is just an unbelievable number. And your participation today in this event, as well as throughout the weekend, is adding to that number, because a portion of all proceeds from ticket sales as well as autograph sales are going to the charity. And I can attest that my celebrity talent, as well as myself and In-House Con and Cool Waters Productions, are very proud to be part of this event. So thank you for having us. I also want to thank Emma Moore over at the event, at the charity. She's the one that organized this with us, and we thank her for all of her help. Outside today's event, if you would like to learn more about the charity and even donate additional funds outside of your ticket or your autograph sales, you can visit www.chas.org.uk, and you can learn more about the charity. And again, you can make further donations, and just know that it's going to an amazing cause. So thank you so much for doing that. Just want to do a little bit of housekeeping before we bring on our first guest. I'm not sure of the viewers out there if you're familiar with using Zoom, but if you are watching Zoom on a laptop or a desktop computer, what we recommend is that you choose gallery view to watch the program today. Gallery view is located in the view icon in the upper right-hand side of your screen. If you click on that little word view, you'll see an option there for gallery view. Gallery view allows you to see all of the speakers today at one time. Those of you using a smartphone or an iPhone, unfortunately, you won't be able to use the gallery view. You're going to have to just leave it on the normal view. And what that does, just so you understand it, is Zoom picks what video that you see, and it's all based on sound. So typically, if one of the guests is talking, that is who Zoom is going to focus on. But inadvertently, if someone was to laugh at a comment that was made, or perhaps burp underneath their breath on accident, Zoom might click over to them and you're watching somebody do absolutely nothing. But it all makes for great live television. And so that's fun. Any mistakes that happen, we can have a chuckle at it, and it's all good. I've asked our guests today to keep their crossover talk to a minimum, but I've also asked them to make sure that they are having fun today, because we want you guys to enjoy our little panel. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with some predetermined questions that yours truly has already written, just to get the ball rolling, keep the flow going. If you, the viewers, would like to ask a question to any of our panelists, I invite you to go to the Q&A room. That's the button on the lower right-hand side of your screen. There is a button called Q&A. The Q&A room is the only place where we will be asking questions that you guys ask. The chat room, which is where a lot of people are already and sending out messages, that is solely for the fans to chat amongst themselves. Please feel free to do so, but the actors and myself will not be in the chat room. We will be interacting only on screen via video and then in the Q&A room. We ask that you, forgive me. We ask that you please refrain from asking questions that have to do with sex, religion, or politics. But other than that, the door is open, And if the guests don't want to answer a particular question, they simply won't. But as long as we keep it clean and fun, they'll answer almost any question that you ask. So don't be shy. Put your thinking caps on. Today's focus is all about the Disney universe. Disney is one of my personal favorites, and I'm very excited to be doing the show today. And I hope that you guys will enjoy this and learn some really cool inside tracks. So without further ado, what we're going to do is bring on each of our guests. And to start off with that, I'm actually going to do a little intro video for each of our guests before they come on, just so you can get a taste of their talent in the Disney universe. So let's do our first one here. I'm going to do a screen share, and we're going to play our first video. So here we go.
Now, when Belle and I come out that door...
Oh, I know! I strike up the band!
Not yet!
Sorry! Oh, this is all my fault. I should have freed the genie when I had the chance. Abu! Are you okay? I'm sorry, Abu. I made a mess of everything. Somehow. I gotta go back and set things right.
Kid! Whoa, what a swim.
Scuttle, look what we found.
Yeah, we're in a sunken ship, and it was really creepy.
Human stuff, huh? Hey, let me see. Oh, look at this. Wow, this is special. This is very, very unusual.
What? What is it?
It's a Dingle Hopper. Humans use these little babies to straighten their hair out. See, just a little twirl here and a yank there, and boy, oh, yeah, I got an aesthetically pleasing configuration of hair that humans go nuts over.
A Dingle Hopper.
What about that one?
Ah, this I haven't seen in years. This is wonderful. A banded, bulbous Snorfblatt.
Oh.
Now, the Snorfblatt dates back to prehistorical times when humans used to sit around and stare at each other all day. Got very boring.
So everybody, you just got a very small taste of the amazing artwork of this Disney animator, an amazing, amazing person. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Rick Farmiloe. Hello, Rick. Oh, Rick, your mic's not on. There we go. Hello,
better?
Rick. Welcome to the show. Yes.
Thank you. It's great to see everybody. Well, I can't see anybody but Derek, but it's great to know that you're out there. So,
well, thank you for joining us today, Rick. Where are you calling in from today?
I'm in sunny Woodland Hills, California.
Woodland Hills, California. Beautiful. Well, thank you for making the time to join us today. And we're going to talk a little bit about the art that you do for Disney after we bring on our other guests. So I'm going to ask you to hang tight as we welcome our next batch. Thanks, Rick. All right, let me bring up our next video, and away we go.
Sleep. I just can't. Sky's awake. The sky's awake. I'm awake. I'm awake. We have to play.
By yourself.
Do you want to build a snowman? Come on.
Well, there's one of those technical glitches I was talking about live television. I'm not quite sure why we had two voices in that clip, but oh well, sorry, you guys get the point of it anyway. We do have two amazing actresses joining us right now. Please welcome to the show, Livy Stubenrauch and Eva Bella. As soon as they activate their videos. There we go. There's Livy and Eva. Hello, girls. How are you?
Good.
Great. I'm so happy to be here today.
Well, I'm so glad that you took time to join us. Where are you guys calling in from today?
I'm in California.
I'm in Indiana.
India, look at that. All parts of the world today, which is great, all the way from the West Coast to Scotland, which is great. So we are going to talk more about your involvement in the Disney universe after we bring on our last guest. Girls, thank you so much, and hang tight while we play that next video, okay?
Okay.
All right, so hopefully we won't have a triple voice on this one. I do apologize to everyone out there watching, but again, that's the pleasures of live TV. Sometimes mistakes happen. So let's play our last welcome video. Here we go.
Why don't you give us a level?
Okay. I want to thank you for stopping that man. Not many people would have done that. Is it that obvious? I'm a fast learner. Is that... can I ask you, John, something?
Yes?
I'm a fast learner. Is that... Do I do that kind of jump thing again? What?
Playfully, I mean...
Is it with that sound beforehand? Remember before I was, like, jumping over the...
Yeah, you are still jumping over the thing, although the idea is by that point, when you've landed by that point, so what you're doing is you're saying, I'm a fast learner, and then you throw him the staff that you use to get over.
Okay. I want to thank you for stopping that man. Not many people would have done that. I want to thank you for stopping that man.
Forget it. So, this is your first time in the marketplace, huh?
Is it that obvious?
Well, you do kind of stand out. I mean, you don't seem to know how dangerous Agrabah can be.
I'm a fast learner.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome a Disney legend, Miss Linda Larkin.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Linda. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Derek.
Thank you for joining us today. And where are you calling in from today?
I am calling from sunny New York City. It just got very sunny in my room. So I think in about 20 minutes, the light's going to shift and you'll probably be able to see me better. But right now I'm backlit by the sunshine.
No problem. We are just glad that you were here, and we can see you just fine. So don't worry.
Okay, good.
Thank you for taking time out of your day to be with us today. And we're going to talk more, of course, of your involvement in the Disney universe. But first, let's bring back all of our guests, Rick Farmiloe, Livy Stubenrauch, and Eva Bella. Let's bring them all back on. Hello, everybody.
Hey, everyone.
There we go. So now we truly do have, from the West Coast all across to the East Coast and then all the way over to Scotland today, quite a worldwide viewership here, which is fantastic. So to my Disney friends, I again thank you for being here today, and I hope that you are finding time to learn new things during this pandemic, and I'm sure we're all willing to get out once this pandemic is over and done with. But why don't you share with us what you've been doing during the pandemic? How have you been keeping yourselves busy? Rick, what have you been doing, sir?
Rick has been, I'm still animating. I'm doing lots of freelance. I mean, obviously I'm at home doing it. When the pandemic hit, I was right in the middle of two projects. I was working on Wendell and Wild, which is a stop motion film that's being directed by Henry Selick, who directed Coraline and Nightmare Before Christmas and all that. I was doing 2D facial animation for that. And I was also working on DuckTales. I was animating on DuckTales. So as soon as this thing hit, we all had to, come home. But I continued to work for both for both projects. So I've just been working a lot, and I'm still working and on other things now because DuckTales ended, but it's having its finale, big finale movie Monday night. So those of you who like DuckTales, you can see the very last episode. It's like 90 minutes long. It's anyway. So I've just been working still. I have my drawing board over here and my Cintiq over here, so I can do pretty much whatever I need to do.
Well, excellent. Very good. Well, I hope that we will everyone will be able to watch the finale of DuckTales. It's a great show. So
yeah, thank you.
And I wish you luck with the other project. Eva, how have you kept busy during the pandemic?
Well, I have a little home set up voiceover booth in my mom's closet, so I've been able to do that for work stuff. However, I've been all online for school. I've taken up ear piercing. We got these ear piercing kits. I pierced my ears like 4 times. So that's my little random thing that we've been doing. We pierced Livy's ears.
The doubles.
Yeah, just a bunch of random stuff. I've been reading a ton. I tried learning Italian, the guitar, like all of the fun stuff that you wish you could do, like when you had time. And then the first 2 months were like great, but now I'm ready to get back to it. But yeah, just staying busy, I guess, has been my main thing.
Staying busy is good. You don't need to pierce any of my ears when I come over to visit, so you can put the machine away. Livy, how about, aside from having your ears pierced, what have you done during the pandemic?
I'm actually in person school right now, so that's been interesting. I moved in the middle of this, so that took a lot of time. And I also picked up the guitar in December, which has been really entertaining. And I'm still doing auditions from home and just recording stuff every once in a while and just keeping busy with that. And then I do volunteer stuff for like Honor Society, just keeping up with school.
Very good. Very good. Thank you. And Linda, how about you?
I've been watching a lot of TV. I've been watching a lot of movies. We had for the first time the Academy portal, which I'm sure Rick knows about because he's an Academy member. My husband, Yule, became an Academy member last year during the pandemic. That was just sort of a random bit of good news that happened one day. So now we have a little icon on the TV where we can watch the 224-year consideration movies. And we took full advantage of that during this pandemic. It was a really great time to have all those movies to watch. So it's been great. And I've been doing creative things as well. I've been writing, which I hadn't done in a long time. And I've been doing that daily. I have realized I have a lot to say, and there are other ways to say it. So I've been really writing a lot and working on some short stories and writing as an exercise and writing some things that are memoir type things. So I have a lot to share from the many years that I've had this very interesting and unconventional life. So I'm starting to get it down on paper.
Excellent. Do you think there's a future of where some of our viewers might be able to read what you've done?
Well, I think we're not there yet, but I do hope to share it. That is definitely the goal.
Awesome. Well, good luck with that. I hope that it works out. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
So all of our guests have been involved in the Disney universe. This is, again, one of my favorites. And I know Emma, who is the person running the tech for the show today and is part of the charity, she shared with me that today was one of her personal favorite episodes of what they've been doing for the weekend for their convention, because she is a Disney fan herself. So I'm so excited that we're able to share the Disney magic over here in Scotland. So I'm going to start with Rick. Rick, you've been part of the Disney family for a very, very long time, and not to age you in any way, but
go ahead, do it. Go ahead, it's fine.
I mean, your work goes as far back as The Rescuers Down Under, Mickey's Christmas Carol, and then the best part is that you've continued to be part of the Disney family, because as you just mentioned, your work, you just finished up work on DuckTales, which is currently on television right now. So what I'd like to, this first question is going to be for everybody, but Rick, I'm going to have you kick it off. is firstly, how did you all get involved to be part of the Disney family? And then Rick, an added question for your part is, how did you find a way to continue the longevity and be part of the family for all of these years?
Okay, well, I just obviously I grew up a Disney fan. I grew up just drawing all the time, like on my math papers in school, which my teachers loved. So, I mean, it's something I've always wanted to do. And I wanted to be an animator, and working for Disney was like #1 for me. So everything I did was geared towards that. So without going into my whole, career, I was at another studio and I wanted to work with Disney so bad. I did a bunch of drawings. I filled sketchbooks full of drawings and submitted them to Disney in 1981. And that I got hired from that. I got hired to work on The Black Cauldron, and I also worked on Mickey's Christmas Carol. So that was the start. And then I just, we went through this big turnover at Disney, when Ron Miller left and Michael Eisner and Katzenberg came in, and we did The Great Mouse Detective, which after Black Cauldron, which no one, paid any attention to as far as the executives. They just moved us to Glendale, and they just let us finish this movie, which was called The Basil of Baker Street at the time. They changed it to Great Mouse Detective, and that kind of started the new sort of renaissance. I think that movie was a lot of younger people. That was a lot of us. That was our very first film we animated on. So it came out and it did pretty well. Then we went to Oliver and Company, did that. That was fun. I did The Great Dane in that film. And then we did Little Mermaid, and Howard Ashman came in and wrote all these incredibly great songs that basically told the story of the movie. And that hit, and it was global. It was gigantic, and that changed everything. And so I just, as far as personally, I just would always want to animate the funny characters. So I did all the sidekicks. I did Scuttle, and then Beauty and the Beast. I did LeFou. I did Wilbur and Rescuers Down Under. And then Linda and I got together to do Aladdin. And in fact, that clip that they showed that was my Abu up on the roof with his mouth opens, drops open. So anyway, and I did animated Abu. So I just was doing, I love to do sidekicks. And as far as coming back to Disney, I mean, I did some little freelance things periodically. I went to DreamWorks for a while, but I always wanted to be back at Disney, and I would do little side projects once in a while. And then they called me back to do animation for DuckTales about a year and a half, 2 years ago. So I went back to the studio and, got a nice office with a drawing board and a Cintiq, and just started animating again. So it was like I had sort of come full circle, but it was absolutely wonderful to be back at the studio and be part of Disney again. So, because I always feel no matter where I go, I'm really a Disney animator. So.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, I'm so happy for you, Rick, and I hope that your career continues with the Disney company. I really do, because I mean, we know they're never going to stop. There's going to be so much more coming down the pipeline. So,
right.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
Eva,
thank you.
Eva and Livy, why don't you share with us how you got to be part of the Disney family?
I will go first. I started acting when I was about 6 years old. Fast forward to when I was like 8, 9, I started doing voiceover work. And then I actually started out doing scratch work for young Elsa, which is basically when they're still in the process of writing and they kind of just want to get a feel for how the words sound. And so I started doing the scratch work for young Elsa. And then I just stayed on as young Elsa, and that kind of is where it all began.
Livy?
I started acting when I was 7, and I was in a play and everything, and I loved it. So I had an agent here, and he sent me off to LA with an agent and a manager, and I had that whole thing. I was there for 3 months, and at like the last 2 weeks, I auditioned for Frozen and got called back and everything. And I remember seeing the script, and it said VO next to like all of my lines because it was voiceover, and I was like, I don't know what that means because I was 7. I thought the animated characters were animated characters. Like I didn't know what voiceover was. So it was really interesting being like in the booth and everything and meeting everybody. And apparently they liked me because I couldn't say my R's right. And apparently that was cute or something. Literally my parents didn't even know I couldn't say my R's right, but apparently that was a thing that they liked. So yeah.
I remember when they told me that they played me the clip of Livy when I was still doing a scratch work. They were like, "I think we found our Anna," and they played it. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, she sounds so cute and little." I literally remember the moment that they played her for me, and they're like, "She has this thing with her voice, or like she can't quite pronounce it," and I was like, "Oh, that's."
That is adorable. Well, see, so that's just a cue out there for the parents. Don't bring your kids to speech therapy. They may not need it. They might become Disney actors. So, well, bravo. Very good. Linda, how did you become part of the Disney family?
So I became part of the Disney family similar to Livy. I was in LA and I was auditioning for things. I had moved there. Like I would go for a few months and then come back to New York and doing that for over a few years. And I just had an audition one day for the voice of an animated character. And I wasn't a little girl, but I had never quite thought about that being a job. So I knew that the animated characters had actors who voiced them, but it didn't really connect until I had an audition for it. And I was like, oh, I could be one of these actors who voices a character. And I would love that. My whole childhood, I was preparing for it. I was practicing. I didn't know what I was practicing for, but I would sit there with my record player and my read-along Disney storybooks, and I would do the voices of all the girls from when I was a little girl. And having the opportunity to join the Disney family in this major feature animation, something I could not have ever seen in my future. But I showed up. I was there when the opportunity presented itself. I was absolutely ready to embrace it.
That is wonderful. And Aladdin is truly one of Disney's newer classics. It really redefined that. Again, it came along the same times as Beauty and the Beast and The Little Mermaid. And Rick, of course, you were part of those as well. You guys were very lucky to be part of the rejuvenation of the Disney franchise when it came to motion pictures. Think about it. Beauty and the Beast was the first animated film ever to be nominated for an Academy Award, and it caused such a rift in Hollywood that they had to create down the road its own category, because they were like, how could we ever have a best film be nominated and not a single live actor ever appears on screen? But I think it's a testament to the amount of efforts that you all put into making a project like that. Is it's still a piece of art and work, and it takes real talent to pull it off. So I'm glad that all of you are able to make the world of Disney come to life. So thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Derek. I want to say, I don't think any of us really knew, and maybe Rick knew better than those of us who were just jumping in and doing our voices and then going home at the end of the day. But I don't think we really ever understand how huge what we're doing is going to become, because we're all doing a little piece of it. Yeah. So the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. If we're just doing a part, and then when we see it, I know for me, I was blown away by what I was seeing, and I'd been part of the process for 2 years, and it still was magical to me.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, part of the thing for us as animators, we just want to do a great job and make a great movie. And we don't know what it's going to do financially, or if anybody's going to remember it or anything. We just wanted to make a good movie. So we were just going from one to another. The surprising thing is not how well they turned out, but how much they're still loved after all these years. I mean, you have little kids who, when I do conventions and stuff, these little kids will come out, they're like 6, 7 years old, and I watch this every day. It's like it's such a long process. And it's like, it really does your heart good to know that you've done something that still resonates with people so many years later. So that's the surprising thing. That's the nice surprise about it.
Absolutely. So my next question, and again, this would be for all of you. And Rick, your answers are going to vary so much simply because of what you do, but feel free to elaborate. For each of what you guys do in the Disney world, what is the hardest part for specifically what you do, and what is the easiest part? specifically for what you do. Take a moment to think about that. Rick, I can probably interject, not to give you an answer, but for me, because I've watched you animate in person, and I thought, I'm wondering if it's hard to do the mouth to match the dialogue.
Oh no, that's kind of the easy part, because we have you have an exposure sheet and it's all written out. The dialogue is written out on a sheet, so you're just matching the vowels and consonants of what's happening. So it's not that hard to sync it up. The hard part for me is making it seem like it's a real character and really getting a performance, like an actor. It's just like an actor. It's like, Linda, you know what I'm talking about. It's like in Olivia and Ava, same thing. You're actors, and trying to create a character that seems real and is convincing. The fact I have a pencil when I act, but I mean, it's the same kind of thing where you're trying to get this character out there to make him or her believable and live. So people, when they're watching these films, they're not thinking about, oh, there's some drawings moving around. They're thinking of this, that's really, Jasmine's a real person, and then that's where the great talent comes in, being able to make these characters convincing. So that's the challenge, for me as an animator, is making my characters seem real.
Okay, wow. Linda, how about you? What's the most difficult part for you?
The most difficult part of, I would say, initially doing the original film, the most difficult part for me was worrying about keeping the job. So I felt for 2 years like they were going to change directions or something was going to happen. I remember specifically when they added a song. When I joined the movie, Jasmine was a secondary character. She did not have a song. The character kept growing and growing. They kept adding more scenes for Jasmine. And I was like, this is great. And then they added a song and I was like, that's it. That's it. I don't sing like a princess. I can sing happy birthday, but I was like, all right, well, I guess this is as far as I go. And they said, you know what, we're gonna find someone to match your voice. We already have someone singing for Aladdin. We've never done this before, ever. They'd never done it in the history of Disney animation. So they were doing it for Aladdin. They said, let's see if we can do it for Jasmine as well. And then they brought in the great Lea Salonga, and she made me sound even better as an actress because her singing voice just seamlessly went from mine to hers and back to mine. And it worked. And then for another probably 6 months after she sung the song, I thought, well, they're going to figure out one day that she can also talk, and they're just going to have her go back and do all of the lines. And I really didn't believe until I saw it at El Capitan in front of everyone that they're not going to take it back.
Yeah.
At that point, I was like, okay, we're good. So that was the hardest part for me, the stress of really not knowing if they would continue to believe in me and stick with me as a character.
I can tell you for a fact, Jean and Ron absolutely loved you, and they knew they had their Jasmine, and there was no way they were going to change. So, I mean, they're not so expressive about it all the time, but I knew from talking to them that they were so happy with your work, and they're like, oh man, she's great, and so you shouldn't have had those worries because they loved you.
I do remember having one little meltdown in the studio. Just one morning, I was having a difficult morning, and they said something like, oh, could you do it again, but with a little more energy? Like they were sort of noticing that I wasn't giving my full performance. And I just started crying. And Ron and John are so shy, and they just were not used to dealing with, a young woman bursting into tears at work. So they came into the recording studio. They were on the other side of the glass when it happened. They came around to my side of the glass, and they said, what's going on? And I was like, I'm just feeling like, yeah, my friend said she was auditioning for the part. I feel like you guys are looking for someone else. And they said, no, 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 do not worry about that. We're doing what we have to do for the studio, but we are confident that we know how this is going to go.
Wow.
And I said, okay, wiped my tears away. We recorded for 8 hours, and much of what we did that day ended up in the film. So we got all that anxiety out early, and they got a great performance out of me in spite of where I started that day.
Wow.
Right.
And think about this. Years later, you were honored with the Disney Legend Award, which basically solidifies, I mean, you're going to be infamous hundreds of years after you've left this planet. So
yes,
will be forever remembered as a Disney legend, and it's because of what you're talking about.
She will always be part of our world.
There you go, Rick. Very good. So Livy, I don't know how they're gonna beat that. They're too young, but Livy and Eva, what was the hardest part for you? Or maybe you didn't have a hard part. I don't know.
The hardest part for me initially with voiceover in general was just like talking to myself for 8 hours at a time, you know, not really having anyone else to feed off of except a microphone that's this close to your face. But when I recorded for Frozen, the directors, Jennifer Lee and Chris Buck, were in the booth with me, sitting right in front of me. So that was good interaction. But other than that, like, I mean, after a while, I could talk to a wall for, you know, forever now, you know, being doing voiceover for years. I say years like I'm old. I'm not, sorry. But that was initially the hardest part for me. And I've only recorded with other people once, and it was for like 15 minutes for something else. But the best part of voiceover is, I love personally seeing the drawings and the sketches, and I love doing ADR. ADR is like one of my favorite things in the world. I love watching the animation, and then I love matching it. I love picking it up quick and doing it a bunch of different ways. I love doing all of the lines 3 times in a row. Like I love the routine of it. And I also just love all of the people in animation, because like Linda was saying, you do these projects for years at a time, and you come back in over, you know, there's like a 3-month gap, and then you come back in for a line that they need to pick up on. And then over time, like there's just a family that kind of develops naturally. And that's definitely my favorite part of voiceover, that, you know, I don't think you can get in live action, you know, just always being close in the same space together. And everyone's doing their little part, but all within kind of a small space, which is my favorite part of voiceover for sure.
Livy, how about you, my dear?
I think the hardest part, since I was like 8 years old, was connecting the fact that like the animation and the character to what I was saying. Just like, it took a lot for me to imagine that there was going to be a little redheaded character that was going to be saying what I was saying. Like the acting wasn't hard. It was just like imagining, and like even when I went to see the movie the first time, I literally looked at the screen and I was like, that's not me. Like I literally could not connect the fact that that was my voice, because it wasn't coming from me. So I was like, that's not me. And it took me like 5 minutes to figure it out. But the easiest part had to be like just being around different people, because I still am, but like I was a very social 8-year-old. So just being around different people was great for me, and they were so nice. And like just having like that interaction with acting, like really, like, yes, I was talking to like a microphone and a wall, but there were people on the other side that were still like around me and like speaking to me and telling me like how to say things. And it was just like, just the interaction was really easy and really fun.
So I'm curious for Linda and Livy and Eva. Sorry, Rick, this part doesn't match or doesn't go for you, just for the ladies. I'm curious if you have ever been recognized on the street simply by your voice, like maybe you were ordering a coffee at Starbucks, or you know, you're in the grocery store complaining to your parents that you wanted a chocolate bar. Maybe not Linda, but strangest place or weirdest.
Oh no, I still complain that I want a chocolate bar, for sure.
Have you ever been recognized and did it shock you? Like, how are they getting this, that I'm this person? Has that ever
Yes.
happened?
That has happened to me. It happened most recently on my way to California for the 2019 D23 convention. I was in the gate area at JFK, and across the way, we were all kind of gathering in the gate area, getting ready to board the flight. And just a little ways across from me, this guy was like, "Are you Linda Larkin?" And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Are you Linda Larkin?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, do we know each other?" And he was like, "No." I went over to him. He said, "I recognized your voice as you were walking by talking to your husband. And then I Googled voice of Princess Jasmine and I saw that it was you." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, that is a really good ear." That guy knew from me walking by, not even talking about, Agrabah stuff. I was talking to my husband about like travel stuff, and he recognized my voice. So it's happened to me over and over. It happens all the time, actually, but a lot of times people don't put it together. I see them turn around quickly and look because they think that they know the person speaking behind them, and then they see me and they just kind of look confused and move on. So, but I know what's going on because I know who I am. They just
Right.
don't. Right.
Eva or Olivia?
That's never happened to me, thank goodness, because I think I would probably freak out a little bit, to be honest. I was in an airport and someone walked up to me and was like, "Your voice." No, that's never happened to me. I mean, obviously at school, there's always like that day when they're like, "Let's Google each other's names." And then they Google my name and like all that pops up. Because I usually try not to tell anyone actually at school. And so there's always like that one day in the school year, when everyone's like, "Let's look each other's names up." And then they're like, "What?" But no one ever recognized my voice, thank goodness.
I do theater. So once I auditioned, it was like the same year that I did Frozen. I auditioned for this theater camp, and you give them your resume and everything. And I sang "Castle on a Cloud" from Les Mis, and they were like, you could see like in their mind they had like a little like, that sounds weird. So then they looked down at my resume and they're like, "Oh," and they figured it out. But also at school, there's been this like for a few years, there's just been this known thing that like there's somebody at our school who was in Frozen. Like just she's there somewhere. We don't really know. So like every once in a while I'll be talking to somebody, I'll be like, "Oh, hi, I'm Livy," and they'll be like, "Oh, you're that girl." I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." I guess.
Sometimes when I'm talking to my friends, I'll like say something and my friend will be like, "Oh, that's so Elsa what you just said." Like I so heard Elsa like in that sentence I said. I'm like, "Oh my gosh." But no one ever, I've never been like recognized for my voice.
Well, Eva, do you remember the time I recognized you and I texted you after I went to see the movie It? We were in the theater and we were watching, and for those of you who haven't seen the movie, it's kind of bloody, but there's this shot in the bathroom where there's this blood in the sink, and there's voices coming out of the sink of these kids who have been taken by the clown, and one of the voices, we're sitting there and I'm there and I'm like, I think that's Eva Bella, and my husband's sitting there and he's like, "Yeah, I think you're right. Is she in this movie?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't think she's in it like an actress, but I guarantee you that's her voice." And it bothered me the whole rest of the time we were watching the film. So the minute we got out, I'm texting Eva going, "Are you in It?" And sure enough, she's like, "Yeah, I was one of the voices." I was like, "That's so awesome."
Yeah, I remember that moment. I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's so weird." But yes, that was actually really fun. I love doing that. It was so fun and creepy.
So cool. So let's talk about Disney favorites. That's always a question that's done at dinner tables and school cafeterias, and when you're waiting in line at Disneyland to get on a ride. Everyone always says, "Who is your favorite Disney character?" So I'd like to know, and it can be your own or it cannot be your own. Who is your ultimate, your favorite Disney character, and who is your least favorite Disney character? Like you're like, I don't like that one at all either because they're evil or you don't like how they're funny or they're rude to their princess. So favorite and least favorite characters in the Disney universe, and it can be any film, television, doesn't matter. Rick, you start us off.
Okay, since I'm going to pick an old character, I think my favorite is Jiminy Cricket from Pinocchio. He's like the greatest sidekick ever. I mean, Pinocchio is my favorite Disney film of the ones I didn't work on, but he just has everything. The animation by Ward Kimball is incredible. His personality is great. He's really memorable. He's important. So I think all that combined makes him my favorite of the Disney characters.
All right. And who's your least favorite? Do you have a least favorite?
You know what? If it was my least favorite, I'd probably forgotten. I mean, there's, you know, on a personal level, I wish LeFou had been a bigger character in Beauty and the Beast. I wish they had given him more to do. But Jeffrey Katzenberg's note on him was he's just a punching bag. He's just a human punching bag. Every time he says something, Gaston hits him. That's all he's in the movie for. So that kind of took care of any, you know, grand plans we had for him. But Chris Wall was the lead on that, and we were talking about all these things we could do with him, but he's just in there. He's a human punching bag. So I was a little disappointed, although he was fun to work on and I enjoyed it. But anyway.
Perfect answer. That's perfect. Exactly what we're looking for. Okay, who wants to go next?
I'll go.
Okay, Linda.
I usually get asked this question in the context of who is my favorite other princess. So I haven't given this answer before because you said favorite Disney character of all time. So I'm going to go beyond the princesses, and not because we were in the same movie, but Genie is my favorite character in all of animation. And Robin Williams' performance as Genie is my favorite performance in all of animation. So 100% hands down, that's my favorite. Least favorite, I'm going to go back to my childhood and say probably Cruella de Vil was my least favorite. But as an adult, I do enjoy the wickedness a little bit more. But as a kid, I did not enjoy Cruella de Vil.
Perfect answer. Excellent. Thank you so much, Linda. Okay, Livy and Eva, who's next?
My answer is the exact same as Linda. Robin Williams is my hero. I have a little genie, like little Christmas ornament in my room, and it's just on my bookshelf, and I just press it and it plays Robin Williams' voice. And I have like Robin Williams magnets in my room. He was my idol. It still is. So Genie's by far my favorite. Jafar, that was Aladdin, right? Yeah, that's the villain, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he used to terrify me when I was little.
Mm-hmm.
So probably
He was so scary.
Like
So
I would
scary.
but I also used to get nightmares from Pinocchio.
Yeah.
It's a wood thing. It's a wood thing. It's wood. You don't like wood.
Do you know the real Jafar is the sweetest person, Jonathan Freeman? Have you guys ever, I know Rick, you've met him, but Ava and Livy, have you ever met him?
No.
Derek knows him as well.
He's
He
great.
couldn't be sweeter.
He's great. Yep.
He's the nicest guy.
Yep.
That's good to hear because he terrified me when I was little.
Can I tell you a really quick story about Robin Williams, really super fast? But when we were making the movie, and even though only a few people were working on, Eric Goldberg was the lead animator on that. Whenever he would do a voice recording, they'd bring the VHS back and we would all watch it because we loved Robin Williams' performance so much. He was so inspiring to all the animators, no matter what character we were working on. We would just get such a charge out of seeing him create and ad lib and just make that character live. So yeah, I mean, that was incredible. I mean, yeah, the Genie's an incredible character and Robin was absolutely amazing in it. So,
You know, the thing about that character, it just lends itself so beautifully to animation because you can do anything with him in animation, and there were no boundaries that, you know, constrained Robin Williams.
Right.
Anywhere he could go, animation could keep right up with him.
Yep.
The animators were able to, he wanted to do 10 voices in 10 seconds. They could morph into 10 different characters.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
It was a perfect marriage of talents.
Agree. Yep. Absolutely.
Livy, the pressure's on.
Such a basic answer, but I can explain. Rapunzel from Tangled. It's so basic, especially for somebody my age. But I have seen everything from Tangled. I've seen the series, I've seen the movies so many times. There's like a musical version on YouTube, like on like the Disney cruise ship. I've seen that and I'm obsessed with it. I literally have a little Tangled thing on my foot. Like I'm obsessed with Tangled, and if I don't get proposed to at a lantern show, I don't want it. So definitely Rapunzel, love her. And I think my least favorite would have to be the evil queen from Snow White, because I'm pretty sure I went on the Snow White ride once when I was like 5 and I saw the evil queen and cried. So not great memories with her.
I will say though, when I was little, I had a Jasmine themed birthday party. Linda, you were literally like my hero when I was little. Jasmine was my favorite, but I literally had a Jasmine themed birthday party. So like when I met you for the first time, I almost fainted.
My gosh, you're so sweet, Ava.
Oh my gosh. It was like I watched it 24/7 and I was obsessed.
Remember that first time we all got together in New Hampshire, I think it was? That was such a fun weekend.
That was awesome.
That was great.
We all got to meet, well, I got to meet your moms and you got to meet my mom. Oh, by the way, my mom says hi to everyone. I told her I was doing this with all of you today. She says hi.
She's great. Your mom's awesome.
She had the best time. It was really fun to be able to, you know, I'm a grown up. Now my mom's coming along with me for the good time. But like, you know, when I was younger, she had to facilitate a lot of things for me. And now I can facilitate fun things for her. So
very good.
It was a really great weekend.
That's cool. Yeah.
We need to make sure that more New Hampshire events happen. Here's my favorite Disney character right here.
Oh, yeah.
Donald Duck. He's my favorite because he has such attitude and he doesn't mind showing it. Mm-hmm. You know, my least favorite is Clarabelle the cow. Or, I don't even know.
Who even knows who she? I know no one knows who she is.
I'm like, she's just so pointless. Like the first time I went to Disney World in Florida, I was so excited. You know, it was little. I think it was 8 or 9. I don't remember exactly, but I wanted to meet all the characters. Even now as an adult, to me, meeting the characters is like meeting a world famous celebrity. I know it's a person in a suit, but I love it. But she was one of the first characters that we saw walking around the park. And I was like, really? They made a costume for her? Like, who cares? Like, I couldn't understand it. Like, where's Mickey? Where's Donald? And they were the hardest to get to. So it was like, geez, okay. Anyway.
She must have a fan base. She must.
Exactly. Anyway, I digress on that.
Well,
so
if you need milk, you get a Clarabelle. I mean,
okay.
That's all.
I'm sure all of the Disney princesses are lining up for Clarabelle's milk, right?
Yeah.
They eat their cakes and their whatever. Anyway, let's not go there. So I'm going to ask one more question before we take questions from the audience. This is just my last cue to get the audience who's listening. Here's your chance now. Get those thinking caps on. Get your Q&As, your questions in the Q&A room, and we're going to jump into those in 1 second. Okay, I'm going to ask one more question. Don't be shy, guys. Just get them in there, and everyone will answer it. So my last question, and it's kind of, I'm going to split it up again, only because, again, Rick, what you do is very different from what the ladies do. So, Rick, your question is, what do you like the difference or the well, I'll ask it and everyone will understand what I'm saying. Do you like classic animation where you're doing 1,000 pages at a time and you can flip through them? Or do you like more kind of like what you're doing currently, maybe like on DuckTales, where everything's on the computer and it's all, you know, it's not tangible, you can't touch it?
Good question. I actually still do both. I love animating on paper. I think I'll always love that the best. But animating on a Cintiq is really good too, because I'm still drawing. To me, it's all about drawing. Like, I'm not a big fan of, I don't really want to animate in CG, although I think the Pixar films are amazing. I just don't want to do that kind of animation. As long as I can draw, I'm happy. So working on paper is probably my preference, my first choice, because you can control every little thing you do. It's a pencil and a paper, you can do anything. Working digitally, it's pretty close. You know, it's a tiny bit faster because you can just move the drawing around wherever you want or duplicate it or whatever. So it's a little faster that way. But I like doing both, frankly. I mean, I prefer paper probably a little bit, but I also love animating digitally. So
Okay. Well,
yeah.
thank you for sharing that. And for the ladies, my question is for the acting world, all the three of you have all done both on screen, off screen, and stage, and in your careers. And I want to know for you as an actor, what is your favorite? What is your best type of acting that you prefer to do? Oh, Livy, you go first. Your mic's on.
Okay. I think I like voiceover as far as like voiceover versus live action, but I also am really partial to stage acting. I'm a big like Broadway nerd, and I love just like being on stage and getting that immediate reaction, which is why I think I also like voiceover, because you can still kind of get an immediate reaction from like the people in the booth and everything, but live action, everybody has to be silent because you're like on set. So I think definitely voiceover and stage.
Voiceover is where oh, sorry, Linda, go. Okay, I feel definitely most comfortable during doing voiceover. Like once I'm in the booth, like I have the headphones on, like I'm good, I'm comfortable. I would like to do more live action. However, I think voiceover will always just hold the most special place in my heart. I feel I can be the most creative with it. I love being able to do it multiple times in a row without them having to like reset the whole scene all over again with live action. And I love the pace of voiceover and how kind of on your feet creative you get to be. And so I think voiceover will always be the most special for me, but I actually love all of them.
Thank you. Linda.
I'm not surprised to hear both girls saying that answer because it's also true for me. And I bet if you ask any of us who've had the opportunity to work in voiceover, we're all going to say the same thing. It is a special world that we're all very fortunate we got to participate in. And for me, has been my favorite. Not just animation, I've had a whole career of doing advertising and commercial voiceover and campaigns and video games. Every time I'm in a studio, I feel like the most free with my imagination, with my work. I could go anywhere in my mind. Nothing is stopping me, disrupting me, interrupting me. I can just take off in a way that I can't do in any of the other areas that I've worked in. And I love something about every area that I've worked in, live action, film, in television, in theater, but really VO is quite a special world.
Thank you so much, Linda. These are great answers, guys. Thank you so much for sharing. We're going to jump into some fan questions now. I'm not going to do these in any particular order. I'm just kind of reading through them. The order that I am trying to do, though, is to make sure that each of our panelists get equal time. I don't want anyone to, overpower the other. So, but here we go. We're going to start with a question from Callum Forrest. Callum wants to know from Rick, who did you prefer drawing and animating more, Abu or Scuttle?
I get asked that question all the time. I'll tell you what, the thing that's great about Abu is that he's strictly pantomime. He didn't talk, so I was just basically, it's a lot of just visual things with him, and like I said, pantomime, and he does chatter a little bit, and he makes little noises, so I did animate to that. But it was kind of a fun challenge just to do something completely visual. But I also loved animating Scuttle because Buddy Hackett did such a great job in his performance of Scuttle. He was so expressive, and going to see him record and actually getting to know him and be friends with him later. It's so fun to do dialogue. You love animating dialogue. I think I probably enjoyed, since I'm talking and I'm getting very expressive, I probably enjoyed animating Scuttle because of the dialogue, because of the acting and performance I was trying to get in. So probably Scuttle.
Thank you so much, Rick. Our next question comes from Alexandra Hill. This is directed to Linda. How did it feel to receive a Disney Legend Award in 2011?
That was surreal, for sure. It was unexpected. It was another one of those calls out of the blue. I was sitting at home one weekday afternoon and the phone rang and it was an 818 number. So that, for people who don't know, that area code in the US is California, and it's where the Disney studios are. But I thought maybe it was just one of my friends who lived in the valley, and I was like, oh, I don't recognize this number. I picked it up, and they were calling to tell me that I had been chosen to receive a Disney Legends Award, and the ceremony would be August 11th, later that summer. And I said, okay, that's incredible. And then I hung up and I went on the computer and Googled Disney Legends Award. I had no idea what it was and what was expected of me, and what it was all about. And then, I learned quickly it was the greatest honor I could possibly have ever wished for from the company that I had dedicated my life and career to. So it was exciting and a little bit intimidating, and definitely one of the best surprises of my life.
Well, I'm glad they honored you with it. It is a true honor. I mean, you are among a lot of recipients that are amazing talents of their own outside the Disney universe, but certainly inside the Disney universe. So for those of you who don't know what the Disney Legends Award is, you should Google it and check it out and see the list of winners. It's, to me, I would put it's kind of like the Disney's own personal version of an Academy Award, but with a little bit more accolades, because it's not just for one performance, it's for your overall contribution to the Disney world and family. So to be honored with it is certainly something you should be proud of. That's great, Linda.
Thank you. Yes, and it's not just for performers. That's a really good point that you brought up, Derek. It is for anyone who has made an indelible contribution to the Disney legacy, and that is marketing directors and parks choreographers and just, there's so many different parts of Disney that make up this world of Disney, and the Legends Award honors all aspects of that.
Yes. Excellent. Well, congratulations. For our next question is going to be for Livy and Eva. This is from Alexandra Hill as well. If you could have voiced any other Disney princess, who would it be? Eva and Livy, that's directed directly to you. Who would like to answer that first? Livy does, I can tell.
Oh wow, okay. I think, does it have to be a princess or just like a character?
Well, the question was princess, but you know what? We can broaden it. Pick a character.
Okay.
That's fine, absolutely.
For a character in general, Tinkerbell. Just think it'd be fun. Good time. She's just very like sassy and just she's everywhere. She's very extroverted and out there. I think it's really fun. But I think for princess wise, I would say Cinderella, just because she's such a classic. And she's like, I don't know, she's just iconic.
So, excellent answer. Very good. Eva, how about you?
I used to pretend that I was Ariel when I was like in a pool. I would like try to sing underwater. So I think Ariel was fun. Yeah, that was when I was learning how to swim. Didn't work out well. But I thought it would be really fun to be one of like just the fish in Little Mermaid. This is like a fun little fact. I did the voice for one of the trolls in Frozen. And I was like, I earned my fire crystal, that little one. And that was just kind of like, after I was done doing my Elsa stuff for the day, you're like, oh, you want to do like one of the troll voices? And I was like, sure. So any just like fun little sidekick would be like super fun, or like just little like performer in the back in like Little Mermaid, kind of just like shimmying. I think that'd be super fun. Something like fun and careless and like super free would be super fun.
Cool. Those are the characters that steal the show sometimes. So, all right. Our next question is going to be to all of you. Where did I just move it? Because I want to say the fan's name. Oh, here it is. Sorry. I'm scrolling and I scrolled ahead of myself. So this is from Richard Young. And again, it's for all of you. Richard would like to know, what is your favorite ride at Disneyland or Disney World? Or we'll go, some of them might have been to the other parks as well. So why don't we just say favorite Disney theme park ride ever?
Hi, Richard. I have a quick answer. Tower of Terror, which was its original, now Guardians of the Galaxy. Totally my favorite. I could go on it 5 times in a row. I've done twice in a row, but I feel like I could do 5. I could keep on it. I could.
I love that ride. You know, while the others
I
are
love
thinking, I'll give you a little insight on that ride. Now, again, this is when it was Tower of Terror, the original, not the way they've redesigned it for Galaxy Quest. But did you know that the only moving version of that ride at the beginning is at the Disney World? It's Disney World or Land. It's Disney World theme park. And so for those of you who've been on the ride at Disney World, you'll know that the seat that you're sitting in moves through kind of like a maze before you get to the shaft where it drops up and down. And that movement broke down so many times that when they designed the ride for the Disneyland park, they took that moving aspect out of it. So at the Disneyland park, when you go, it doesn't move. It simply goes into the shaft and it drops up and down, and that's it. So the unique experience of that moving version is only available at the Disney World park. So just figured I'd let you know that in case you didn't know. Little trivia there for Disney. So who wants to go next? Favorite ride? Eva, you go.
I'm the exact same. Yeah, my friends and I, we went once, and I think we were in line for like 3 hours. We just kept going. It's the best.
Even you have to go with me. We go in the back.
I could do it all day, any seat on the cart. I'll do it all. It's so fun. I loved Tower of Terror, but I also really like the Guardians of the Galaxy. I think they were both great.
My friend Mark Silverman does the Rod Serling voice for that.
So good.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
That's mine. That was my answer.
Okay. Go ahead, Libby.
I really like Space Mountain because I remember the first time I went on it. They're like, they take your picture. Well, I didn't know how cool this was because they had like all stars and stuff. So you just look at the picture and like my 10-year-old self is like I am just shook by everything around me. Like I am just everywhere. So it's still my favorite to this day, and I still get so it's just so pretty, and it's just really fun.
I like Pirates of the Caribbean. It's nice and slow. It's nice and slow, easy. I like it. It's like animated characters. You're going through and you're seeing these animated characters, And Mark Davis, who was one of the 9 Old Men, designed all those pirates and stuff. So that ride has always fascinated me. I went on it when I was pretty little for the first time, and wow, this is just amazing. So just visually, I still love it. It's still my favorite.
I want to hear in the comments everyone's favorite ride, because I miss Disneyland so much.
Yeah,
I just want to think about all of them. I hear Rachel says Space Mountain was her first ever proper roller coaster. That's cool. Anybody else have favorites? Has anybody in this group been to Disneyland in the last few years?
Yeah, I know. I was terrified the first time I did it.
Yeah.
We've got someone saying Tower of Terror.
Tower of Terror. Yeah, Emma, Richard.
I'm going to tell my friend Mark how popular it is still.
Oh, Thunder Mountain in the dark. That's a good one, Emma.
Okay, but for Pirates of the Caribbean, can we talk about the smell?
It
smells so good.
I was really gonna ask that question to everyone else.
That's so good.
Funny.
It's amazing.
So funny. I was really gonna ask this question. It smells so good.
It's amazing.
The pirates wear a special cologne. That's what it is. You didn't know that, but that's what's going on.
I never really thought about it.
Special pirate cologne.
Oh, someone wrote Peter Pan's Flight in Paris. I've never been to Disney Paris. I would love to. That'd be so cool. Peter Pan's Flight, it must be the same as the one at Disneyland, right?
Probably the same.
With the original Peter Pan in Fantasyland. I went on that the last time I was there because I was there with my 2-year-old godson. So we went on lots of the little kid rides. It was really, really fun. Dumbo. I love Dumbo. I hadn't been on that in so long, but when you're with a 2-year-old, you got to do Dumbo. He was, flying.
Have you guys been on the Goofy flight school? It's like hidden in the corner. It hurts. It's like
I remember.
It's super jerky, but it's like my second favorite after Tower of Terror.
Oh,
I'm
and
trying to
the one with the
remember the
Yeti.
Goofy one.
You know,
Oh yeah.
Yeti.
You know, my favorite ride is over at Epcot. What is it? The one where you take off in a spaceship. I can't remember the name of the actual ride now, but it's a flight simulator of being in an actual rocket ship, and it's done the same way that astronauts train, just not quite as but it's done with centrifugal force.
Is it Spaceship Earth or Mission Mars? Is it one of those?
I think it's Mission Mars, because Spaceship
Mission
Earth,
Mars.
the actual
Alexandra said Mission Mars.
That thing is amazing, and they warn you, like, because you can take two different versions of it, a faster one or a slower one, and you might get sick on the ride, and they tell you to make sure you keep your eyes open. And I've had so many people come on that ride with me, and they like to go with me because I like to keep talking and act as the captain. And I tell everybody, don't worry about throwing up or anything. Just listen to my voice, and I'm going to make this so much fun for you. And they end up laughing more about me and my little performance inside. And I'm like, switch that button or we're going to crash. No, you switch it. And we get everybody laughing. And then when they get off the ride, they realize, but it's when it takes off and you're going towards the Mars or wherever we're going. I would love to be an astronaut. I think it'd be amazing to do that in real life. Anyway.
That's so great. Alexandra wants to go with you, Derek. She said there are two options, one with G-force, and she wants to go with you. So
yeah. Oh, come with me.
Got to do that together.
It'll be a blast. You're welcome to come.
Soaring has good smells too.
Oh my gosh, the oranges.
Yep.
Soaring. Oh, thank you for saying
Soaring.
that. That's one of
Soaring
my
is fun.
absolute favorites.
Yeah, soaring's great.
Yeah, Soaring over California is my
changed
actual
it now.
favorite. But they changed it back by 2019.
Oh, they did?
It was because it was soaring and it went around the whole world. But when I was there, the last time I was there was August of 2019, and it was back to soaring over California.
Oh wow, cool. That it's so majestic. I love it. Okay, so let's move on to. I mean, this is great, guys. The interaction with the fans is great. So let's move on. Though I want to get some more questions in. So this one is from Richard Young for Linda. What was it like to bring Princess Jasmine back to the cinema for Wreck-It Ralph 2 with the other princesses?
Another surprise call out of the blue. In my dreams, I never thought that Jasmine would get to be in another feature animated film 20 years after our original film. So that was really exciting. And then actually doing it and then celebrating it with the other princesses was life-changing, because we had always been in our own worlds, all of us. We would only celebrate Aladdin with people from Aladdin, and then the next year it would be another film, and I'd have that year off. It wouldn't be ever that we got to do things at the same time together. And for the first time, I got to, a little bit, some of us have been able to interact at conventions. So we've been able to come together through these live events. But this was the first time I was meeting a lot of the other princesses. And we were doing events together to celebrate the movie. And it was one of those things, again, where coming together, it felt like something bigger than any of us individually had experienced. So it was a really, really fun project to do. Celebrating the project after we were done and promoting it was next level.
I remember
It was really great.
I did some of the kid voices for Ralph Breaks the Internet. And one of the scenes that we were doing it for was right before all of the princesses were coming in, and they played us the clip, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's Princess! I was like, that's so cool. And then they're like,
So
yeah,
cool.
like now you have to scream for all the princesses. And like, I was genuinely just like screaming because like, it was just so exciting to see all of you guys together. And then when I watched it, I was like, that's just so cool that you guys all did that together.
I remember when we first, thank you, Eva, that's really sweet. When we first realized what it was going to be, it was live in front of everyone at D23 in 2017. So they brought us all out there. It was a secret. The whole scene was a secret. Like, you knew about it because you were involved in the movie, but no, we weren't allowed to tell anyone about it. It was going to be a surprise for everyone. And they showed the work in progress clip at D23. They brought all of us to California to come out on stage one at a time after they showed the clip. And it started that people thought it was just going to be Jodie. They're like, oh my gosh, Jodie Benson is here. And everyone got really excited. And then Jodie introduced Paige. And they're like, oh, Paige O'Hara, oh my gosh, 2 of them. And then by the time I was the next person to come out, by the time I came out, the audience caught on that it was going to be all of us. It was almost all of us. I think 2 people were not able to attend, but there were maybe 9 or 10 of us on stage together. And everyone was on their feet, 6,000 people in this auditorium, freaking out that for the first time they brought all of the princesses in one room together and in one film together. So it was pretty exciting. That energy and that we got to feel it live was really, really incredible. I don't remember the question. I just went on. I don't even remember
we
where
just like
I
the
started.
answer. The answer was so
Yeah.
good. Who cares what the question is?
I know, right? I do want to just acknowledge one comment while I'm speaking. I don't know who it is because it's just an ex, but had a trip to Disneyland through Make-A-Wish, and I just want to acknowledge your journey with your son and our love to you.
Thank you, Linda. That's very sweet. Thank you so much. This is great, guys. I'm sure the fans are having a blast. Let's do some more questions here because we're getting close to our end time, but let's get in a few more. We're going to take one here from Rachel Gedge. And this, I guess, will be a little bit of an education that all of you can kind of interject and explain how it works. Rick, you might have to kick it off, but here's the question. It's directed to the voiceover people, but Rick, you're gonna have a part in answering this. So do you get to see the animation as you record your voice part, or are you recording it before the animation is ready? And then the latter, how hard is it to judge on how to sound when you only have a script and not the action in front of you? So Rick, why don't you kick off how it works, and then the ladies can explain a little bit more on the process of the actual recording of the lines.
Okay. When they bring in the voice artists, there's no animation done yet. We're going to animate to the voices. So what they're given is, of course, a script, but usually some storyboards too, like so visually they can see what's happening. So although it's not animated yet, they still get to look at these panels of the action and what's happening in that scene and who they're with and what part in the film this occurs. You know, if it's a very dramatic thing or it's more of a subtle or a funny thing or whatever. So that's how it starts. And then we animate afterwards. After it's recorded, we listen to the recording and then we animate to the performance.
All right.
And that's a question that I know I get it more than any other question. I don't know about everyone else here, but which comes first, the drawings or the voice? So Rick just answered that for everyone, but that's a very popular question.
So then let's explain a little bit on, so that the listeners or viewers will understand. Ladies, what are you provided aside from just the written material about your character? And just so you kind of know where I'm leading with that, only because I know some of the behind the scenes, I'm talking about possibly a storyboard or a maquette. How are you shown who the character is in order to help you bring it to life?
I think when I audition at least, I had like a description of the character, so I had an idea of like her personality generally. And then for a while, it was mostly just the script. And then for the ADR session, they had like a kind of like rough draft animation because we had to like go along with like the words and such. And so I got to see like young Anna there for the first time. But yeah, they have little things.
One of the things that was cool, especially for Disney, about being involved with it since the beginning, since I started with scratch, was that I started doing the voice before they had like an official sketch for the character. And then when I officially came in for my first session, they had like a very rough sketch of her. But this is something that's unique to Disney that I've only experienced there, is that they had two like high-res digital cameras on both sides of my face to help with the animation. And that's something that I've only experienced at Disney. And then obviously when I went back in for ADR, they had, it was mostly completely done, and then you got to match the animation. But generally, just for auditions, there's like a sketch and a description. I try not to take the description too much to heart, just to do our own thing with it, and not go directly by it. But generally, that, like Olivia said, it helps with like the character and their personality a little bit.
Excellent, thank you. So let's take our next question. This is directed to Rick. Rick, this is from Richard Young. Huge fan of your work. Basil the Great Mouse Detective was one of the first films I saw in cinema, and love Oscar and Company, Box Trolls, Black Cauldron. What inspired you to take up art and become an animator?
Boy, I was really little. I think I saw Pinocchio when I was maybe 5 years old or something like that. And my mom was an artist. My mom was a painter, so I sort of could draw. I could sort of do that anyway. But when I saw Pinocchio, I remember sort of thinking, it was just mind-boggling to me that what was going on the screen. And I remember kind of thinking, I don't really know what that's called or what it is, but I want to do that. So when I got home, I remember I made my own Pinocchio book based on the movie, like what I could remember. Just did my own book, So I just started drawing. I mean, it was one of those things where it was never encouraged or told, nobody said, hey, why don't you start learning how to draw or whatever. I just did it naturally. And then when I got a little bit older, like maybe 9 or whatever, I decided animation was where I wanted to go, as opposed to just drawing cartoons, like for a newspaper or whatever. I knew I wanted to draw, but I just think animation was so limitless, and it's such an imaginative thing. And I thought, God, I can do anything in this medium. I didn't call it a medium, but I can do anything. And so I just, the more I saw, the more I wanted to do it. So I was very young. So that's when it started.
All right. And then Alexandra Hill has a question. It was directed originally towards Rick, but I actually think it can be answered by everyone. Is there a part of your personality in each of your characters? So Rick, maybe choose one of, or no, maybe it's all of the characters you've ever drawn. Do you have your own personality in it? And then ladies, for your voiceover, is any of your own personality in there?
For me, every single character I do, it's part of me. I have him act the way I would do it, like my facial expressions or my attitude or whatever. My son Grant was about 3 or 4 years old when Aladdin was being done. And so I based some of my animation on him, because he was kind of he had a little temper, and he was a real character. So I based a lot of, especially the stuff of Jasmine and Aladdin up on the roof, when they first meet, and Abu has the apple, and he's getting mad because of, Aladdin takes the apple and gives it to Jasmine. So I used my son and his attitudes, for inspiration for that. But the general answer is, I put myself into every character I do, the way I would sort of do that,
Ladies?
I have a question.
Yes.
How old is Abu? What do we think? Is he like 3?
I think he's a kid. I think he's I don't think he's like, I don't know how monkey years work, but I look at him as a little kid. He's like a little brother almost to Aladdin. He does mischievous things like a little kid would do. I think that's why people like him, because he is like a precocious little kid. So I just think of him as a young, kind of a young monkey,
is there a part of my personality in Jasmine?
Yes.
Definitely. I think for all of us, we were drawn to these characters for a reason, and we knew what to do with the words on the page because we somehow connected with it in a way that made us stand out to the people listening to us. So for me, Jasmine is an advocate of love and of what is right. And she would do anything and fight and risk everything for what she believes in. And what she believes in is love and truth and justice. And these are things that I personally very much connected to I mean, I still do, but at that time in my life, I really, really understood her. And I loved that she had that fiery spirit and that she was fearless in her approach to standing up for what she believed in, and that she stood up in alone as a woman. She stood up, you know, against a really male dominated culture. And I thought that was really something we hadn't seen before. And it was something that I could feel in my generation was starting to happen. So that was an area that we connected as well.
Perfect. Thank you. Eva or Olivia?
I remember when I recorded for young Elsa, and that was kind of the beginning of where I was still kind of trying to figure out what voiceover was. And so the line between live action and voiceover was still pretty blurred for me. I mean, it still is now, but just in terms of like etiquette and sort of that stuff. And I remember the part where young Elsa gets Anna, and you know, she runs over and she's like, "You're gonna be okay." And I remember I was actually crying, you know, like that was real. That was something that I was actually experiencing with the directors that they were taking me through. So that was a real experience for me. And I don't know if this is answering the question exactly, but that's what I mean, I still think about it to this day, like how personal that moment was for me when I was recording that. And even some stuff with for Shimmer and Shine over the years that has been like incredibly personal. And I think that's the memories that I remember most, is where I bring myself the most to it, is the most memorable parts for me of recording and watching it and doing it again.
But that's why we feel it, Eva, when you are doing that, it gets me. Like I feel what you're feeling, and that is a really special talent. That's something that makes you stand out.
Thank you.
It's what makes your performance reach me and millions.
Thank you.
I think that since I was so young, it was very genuine. Like I very much related to young Anna. I mean, she was just like this feisty young girl who was just trying to have fun and like be playful and like do whatever. Like she was just a really fun character, and I was a very extroverted person. I still but especially when I was 8. So it was very genuine because I was just a young kid saying some lines that I would have said in my everyday life. And the laugh was also genuine because I couldn't just laugh on command. I could not fake a laugh. So my grandmother came in and tickled me. Eva had a similar experience. Was it Jennifer Lee that came in?
Yeah, she had to.
Okay.
She had to tickle me because I was like, "You want me to just laugh into a mic?" I was like, "That's so weird."
Yeah, so the laughs were even like really genuine, and I just really connected to her. And I think like even as I get older, like I still connect to Anna as she gets older, like with her feistiness and her little bit of stubbornness. And but like I think it was a very good match as far as character. I don't know.
Well, this has been absolutely wonderful, guys. And unfortunately, we are at the end of our time. We actually went over our allotted hour, and I hope that all of the viewers enjoyed it. And I can't thank each of our guests for participating. Before I have everybody say their individual goodbyes, I just want to remind everybody that autographs are still available from each of our guests. and that when you purchase an autograph today, a portion of the proceeds are going to the children's hospices across Scotland. So your purchase will be helping an amazing facility over there in Scotland. Also, I want to let everyone know that aside from an autograph, Mr. Farmelo can also do an original sketch of one of his three main characters, Abu, Scuttle, or LeFou. I'm showing you on the screen here, just the gang's all here. It's a piece that he did for each of them. You can only choose one character in the sketch. It is available in the autograph shop. You choose which character you want, and Mr. Farmelo will hand draw that character for you, and it will be shipped off with the autographs as well. So if you would like an original sketch from a Disney animator, or if you would like a signed 8x10 featuring Elsa, young Anna, or Jasmine, everything is available. And again, benefits children's hospices across Scotland. Make sure if you want to donate over and above your autograph purchase to go to chas.org.uk, learn more about the charity, make an additional donation. So I want to thank Emma Moore over at the charity for being in the background today and helping make our panel, this was an amazing panel today, available. And Capital City Sci Fi Con, again, thank you for your support. So now let's do our individual goodbyes before we show our credits. Livy, we'll start with you. Your goodbyes, please.
Hi guys, thank you so much. This was awesome. I had a lot of fun. It was great.
Take care. Bye-bye. Eva, how about you?
Thank you so much for everyone for talking with us today. This felt really just like a little circle of just talking about all things Disney, and just thank you for interacting with us. I know everyone's had a really rough, or just we've all been able to relate on the same level this past year, and I think everyone getting to interact on a level like this is really special. And just thank you so much for having me and all of us today, and I hope you all have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, Eva. Bye. Rick, please, your farewells.
Well, first of all, it was great seeing all of you, and I really miss everybody. And Linda, we haven't seen each other for a while. Hopefully we'll see each other soon.
I hope so too, Rick.
Yeah, thank you for making me part of this. And I this is such a worthy cause, and I hope a lot of the fans will contribute. And I look forward to doing sketches for you if you want, or whatever you need. And it's been really, really fun. I love talking about my Disney life. So thank you, Derek.
Thanks, Rick. Take care.
We'll talk soon, Linda.
And Linda, your farewells.
Everyone, thank you for all of your hellos to my mom. I'm going to share all of them with her. She will love that. Getting hellos from Scotland, she will love that. And Derek, I want to thank you for putting this all together with Emma and with CHAS. It was really special. When you first reached out to me about this, I felt honored to be able to participate, and I learned a lot about the organization, and I am thankful that you allowed me to be a part of it. So all of you, thank you for being here. Thank you for letting us share our stories today and for sharing our love of Disney. And I hope to see you all soon.
Thanks, Linda. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So to all of our viewers out there, I have to give my thanks again for allowing me to host both yesterday the Ghostbusters event and today this Disney event. It was great fun. I would like to ask the folks at the hospice as well as the Capital Sci Fi Con, when the pandemic is over and you're having your normal convention, please reach out to me. I know that all of the guests that have appeared yesterday and today on my roster would love to come over to Scotland and meet the fans face to face. I would love to be able to work that out with you guys. And thank you so very much for having us be part of your charity. And for those of you who want more virtual events, I'm not 100% sure what else is happening with the event this weekend here, but I can tell you for my own little selfless promotion that In-House Con, which is inhouse-con.com, does have some more events coming up, virtual events where you can meet and greet our celebrity guests and purchase autographs. So you can go to inhouse-con.com and learn more there. So to all of you who watched today, thank you so much. And thank you for helping us raise money for the charity today. We've got 40 seconds worth of credits starting now. Take care, everybody.